Hello and welcome to the third episode of It's Chalked. I'm Preston Byers and I'm joined today by Dot Esports managing editor Justin Binkowski, who will help me preview one of Call of Duty's biggest events of the year, CWL Anaheim, which is coming up, starts this Friday. So how are you doing, Bink?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm really tired. I missed last week on the podcast. I didn't do one, and I was about to not do one, and then Lauren kind of guilted me into doing it. So,
Good.
yeah. So, the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna talk a little bit about the open bracket, just like who we're picking to win, and then we'll go into pool play and just go from there. So starting with the open bracket, I only have like four teams like off the top of my head that I can actually think of, which is Spacely's team, which is like Assault and Fellow and them, and then Sage Esports, which is Spoofs, Pander, and Knight, and then Beezy's team, which is like Beezy, Pentagram, and other people, and then Mind Freak, who won the Fort Worth open bracket. So, who do you have winning the open bracket at Anaheim?
I think Spaceless team's got a good shot to do some damage. Obviously, NA bias, and they're probably the best North American team there. Them and Sage, I guess. But Mind Freak did win the last one, so kind of got to give them some credit. I'm pretty sure it was they came from the lower bracket, so they had to do back-to-back series, and they won 3-0-3-0. But I guess from Europe, the team that Mind Freak beat was Josh's team, and now they're under a war, so I guess they're another team to look out for as well.
Yeah, I forgot about them. Well, I don't think they'll win, but
I don't either.
yeah. So I probably say Spacely's team too.
Yeah.
It's what? Spacely, Fellow, Proto, Assault, and who?
It's a new kid. Let me look. Exceed. Pretty sure that's who it is.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, he's a new kid.
Right,
He just turned 18 on June 11th.
All right, so he must be like super good. So I'll go with Spacely's team. I mean, like Sage looked pretty good. They won two best of fives against Beezy's team in that national qualifier a few weeks ago, and they looked pretty good. So I mean, they have some like fringe pro league players and everything. I mean, I don't know. I literally have not seen Mind Freak play since Fort Worth, so I can't really
Yeah.
say anything about them. I mean, I'll say Space's team, but I mean any of these teams probably could win.
Yeah. If I had to pick one, I'll go with Mind Freak for the sake of the argument.
Yeah. Which is surprising because you hate non-NA teams. So.
Well, I mean, you picked the NA team. You're supposed to pick the Aussie team.
I mean, I would, but there's no Aussie team in the pro league, so I can't really troll pick them anymore. So out of the four pools, I guess I'll just like kind of list them off. We have in pool A, there's Optic, Heretics, EG, and then Units, which is like the X Denial team. And then pool B is United, Reciprocity, Elevate, UIU. Pool C, FaZe, Splice, Midnight, E6. And pool D is 100 Thieves, Genji, MV, and Luminosity. Out of those four pools, which do you think is like the most stacked? Because I don't want to say hardest or easiest because like I mean it depends on who you are, but like which pool is like I guess like the most stacked out of all of those?
I think you have to say Pool D, even though there's so many question marks around it. But like, if everyone in Pool D plays to their potential, you have teams that like all have placed within the top 6 this year, and 2 teams that have won an event. Obviously, there's questions around Luminosity with Gunless. Envy hasn't looked amazing recently, and Gen G even kind of struggled recently in the Pro League. So, like, that's why I said there's questions around all 3 of those teams aside from 100 Thieves who are coming off their win at London. But if all 4 of the teams play to the top of their potential, that should be the most, like, exciting or toughest pool to watch.
When Mike sent us the pick'em and everything, and like we had to do the pool D picks, and I was like, I literally don't know. Like obviously I'm gonna pick 100 Thieves to go 3-0, but like other than that, like I can't tell you if like Luminosity is gonna like upset Gen G or if like
Yeah.
Envy is gonna finish like 2-2 or something like or 2-1. like I don't know. So it's like that pool is super weird. I don't think it's like the most stacked, but like I think it's definitely like the I don't know like the most even out of all of them. Like they don't have any advantage. Like they all have played bad except 100 Thieves. Like Gen G won I think 2 or 3 games, like in the last Pro League split, and then Envy and Luminosity won like a combined 1 game. So it's like they're all playing pretty poorly. I think like my pick probably be it's probably Pool B because I don't like I don't believe that all of these teams are like super good. I think United's probably the favorite to win Anaheim, but like Reciprocity played really well in the last split. Elevate has looked pretty good at certain points. UIU is like obviously I think they're the worst, but like they're not that bad. Like they played better than like Luminosity and Envy have played. So I'd probably say Pool B just for like I don't know the fact that all of these teams haven't looked like complete garbage lately. Which is like the like which do you think has like the biggest talent disparity?
Biggest talent disparity. I
Yeah,
mean, I would have to say B because
UIU is so different from United.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can't really. I mean, if you look at just based on seeding, like comparing Optic to X Denial, like Brack is one of the best players in the game. So like talent wise, it's pretty hard to say anything like they're that far off, even though Optic's obviously the better team. Um, so obviously, I think D is a really tough pool regardless, so it can't be that. So I would have to go with B.
Yeah. I don't know. I like these pools are so weird because outside of the top teams, like outside of Optic, United, FaZe, and 100 Thieves, like these pools can go like any way. Like I believe in those top 4 teams, but everybody else is like, all right, like you guys are up there, like we'll see what happens because everybody else has played pretty poorly or like pretty average at best since then. Like Splice is playing with Nolson, who isn't like a full time guy. Um, Gen G's looked really bad. Reciprocity is like they looked good, but who knows like if their honeymoon period ends and Dens doesn't do well anymore. Like Heretics has looked like pretty average. So I like I guess I'd pick I I don't know like I like I'd honestly say Pool D just because Luminosities look so bad that like they're so much worse than 100 Thieves at the current moment that I'd probably say Pool D, but I don't know, like it's pretty up in the air anyway.
I just think the way you asked the question is based purely on talent. Like you can't like Luminosity, even if they're playing poorly, they still have Formal and
I got
John, a
you.
former MVP.
Oh yeah, I guess the way I asked it, yeah, that would make sense, and then UIU would definitely be, or like it would either be E6 or UIU, just from like a talent thing.
I mean, and even former Denial, like they didn't. I can't think of their record off the top of my head, but they definitely didn't have a great recent split in the pro league.
I think
So
they won 2. I think they beat Envy and somebody else like in the last week, but they looked average.
honestly, if you said D, you could, but still, that's so tough because MV is good. But you could make the argument between 100 Thieves and MV, even though MV did. I think it was 100 Thieves beat MV 3-0.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was like 250 to 220 in the hard
But
point. It was
that was
close
like
in the
Envy's entire split was like
yeah.
they had really close series, but then they lost like almost all of them. Like I think they only like who did they beat? Like I'm trying to look through. They beat Heretics, right?
Yeah.
And they beat. Um, I
I
don't know.
can't think off the
Yeah,
top of my head.
I don't know who else they beat, but like really they did well, but they didn't like do well enough. And like with the amount of amount of talent that you have on that roster, it's kind of like mind blowing. Like to have Hook, who is honestly one of the best players in the world, probably one of the most talented Call of Duty players like ever, just like from a pure skill standpoint. Um, it's like crazy that you're not able to even split your games.
Yeah.
So like let's just go to Pool A and like give our predictions. Like, how do you think Pool A, which has Optic, Heretics, EG, and then Extana, how do you think that shakes out?
Um, Kind of like how we already said before, the top team in each pool should relatively easily secure the first place spot. So I'm fairly confident saying Optic will come in first. I think second is between Heretics and EG, just because of recent performances. Denial, former Denial, whatever you want to call them, hasn't really looked too strong. I'm going to give the edge to Heretics here just because I know you're going to say Evil Geniuses, and I want to be different.
Yeah, I am gonna say EG. So I'll say Optic first because I mean it's like stupid not to, and then I think it's like really close because
Yeah,
Heretics and EG kind of look almost the exact same in their respective splits. Like EG looked really good at times in Division A, and then Heretics like looked pretty good in Division B at times. But there are times where it's like you're just not. They're not very good. I think EG's a better team, but you know if Heretics gets their Vamos and they take out
that's the thing.
they literally could take Optic to game 5. Like I actually have no doubt that Heretics could do that, but I don't think they could actually beat Optic, and like I think they'd still lose to EG.
If you look at Evil Geniuses season so far, they came in top 8 at Vegas, which is their best placing, and then they came in top 16 at Fort Worth and top 16 in London. So like they haven't performed too well, even though it's been different rosters each time. They haven't performed too well on LAN, but recently in the Pro League they did look well. So um, look well. That sounded weird, but they they've played well recently. So hopefully their fans want to see them not come in last because last place sucks. But like you said, I think that's the match between Heretics and EG will be the deciding factor for second place.
I just got a Slack alert from Adam, and I think I'm gonna die. Um, yeah, I don't think I don't know, like EG when they interviewed JCap, I think this was Jess. She interviewed him, and he's like, "Well, we just didn't play well. We were like a new team, and that's why we didn't do so well at London." And I kind of agree. Like they have the talent. Like they're obviously not like a stacked team. Like any team that's like has what is it? JCap attach, exotic. Um, who's the other two people? Timmy. What's Phantoms?
Yeah,
And
Phantoms.
then I don't know who the other guy is, off the top of my head, but they're. It's not like it's apathy. Oh, shit. Benzi's gonna be mad. It's not like a stacked team, but it's like a good enough team, and I think they probably get top 8 at this event. I mean, I'd be pretty shocked to see them get top 16 again.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you look at all of these pools, like, especially for me with Pool B, personally, I thought it was a pretty weak pool, aside from E United. But, like, one of those teams, Reciprocity, Elevate, or UYU, whoever gets second is guaranteed a good placing, potentially better than Envy, Gen G, or Luminosity.
Yeah.
So obviously it's nobody's fault. That's just the way the pool's shook down. But like, it's kind of weird to think about it that way when obviously, if I don't know if it's that obvious in their current form, but if I had to pick between those three teams in the bottom of Pool D, Gen G, Envy, and Luminosity against any of those other teams in Pool B aside from E United, I'd go with the Pool D team.
See, I would be more open to it if Luminosity wasn't included because like I don't believe in them at all with Ricky. Like I didn't nobody believed in them when they had Gunless. So I don't think we should believe in them when they have Ricky. Like, I know that Formal is playing Maddox now, and like he's obviously super talented, but it's like I think there's like Ricky is by far the worst ICR in pool play. So like I think that there's a big talent gap there. Um, but yeah, like so you said Optic and Heretics, just to be different. I did Optic and EG. For
Yeah,
Pool B, we have United, Reciprocity, Elevate, UIU. You say this is like pretty much like the worst group other than like United. So who do you have coming out in Pool B?
I would like to pick Elevate, but I'm gonna go with Reciprocity. Um, I think Elevate's shown a lot of promise, but um, we haven't actually really. They didn't play with this lineup at London, right? Did they?
Who Elevate?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they did. Don't think they did too well though. Pretty sure it was the mixed French American team at London. Uh, looks at
Why don't I remember?
yeah they did. Profizi, Whalers, Skies, Brezzi, and then
Yep.
Ruiz. They got top
That
16.
must have been their first event. But yeah, they looked a lot better in hardpoint regardless of how they played in London. So I think they're improved, and just because of the state of that pool, where United should go 3-0, and then it's a battle for second. I think Elevate is the second best team, but I think Reciprocity, just for the sake of the argument, I'm going to give the second spot to Reciprocity because I think Dylan's a monster, and it really just comes down to if he's playing well, if they have somebody else, whether it's Wuskins or Shawnee or Zed or Dens, even though I just named all four of them. If somebody steps up alongside Dylan, I think they're the second best team.
If at least two players on their team play well, they win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously United gets first, and then, I mean, I say obviously, but watch United have like a really poor pool play and just get second. Like, I feel like that happens every year. I don't know if it's United all the time, but like, one of the favorites at a tournament, whether it be like United or like Luminosity or something like that, they are like, oh yeah, this team definitely gonna be like a contender for grand finals this year, and then they like lose to UIU in pool play and they barely squeak out of their pool. um, like I think United gets first, and then I think Elevate gets second. But like I said, I picked this as like the closest pool because I honestly could see UIU like upsetting Reciprocity and like getting two wins in this group. So I'll say United and Elevate, but who knows? Like I think Skies is super good. I think Dylan's super good. Like there's just so much talent that like if like Reciprocity, Elevate, and UIU were just like to form a super team, this team would be like wonderful. It would be like Dylan, Skies, Wuskins, Brezzi, and like I don't know who you want to round out that roster, but like that's a really good team. It's just they play on three separate rosters. But yeah,
and I think UIU, like, we're obviously not picking, neither of us picked them to move on. And I think it's just more of a matchup thing. Like, since adding Zaptius, however you want to say it, UIU should be a better search and destroy team. Like, that should be their best mode. But I saw a JP tweet the other day that United and Reciprocity are two of the best Game 5 teams in Black Ops 4 so far this year. So, like, if UIU is maybe in a different pool where they weren't playing teams that are as good at search and destroy, they might have a better chance to pull off some upsets. But I just think, luck of the draw, they got put in a group with equally, if not more talented search and destroy teams, and that's going to be their downfall or the reason why they don't make it out.
Well, in Division A a few weeks ago, wasn't it Reciprocity beat UIU in Game 5? Like I don't know if they reverse swept them, but they came back in the series. Like
I don't remember, maybe.
I'm pretty sure that was like the crazy series where they had.
Oh, there was the Arsenal hardpoint map
Where
for
Dylan went
250,
crazy
249, yeah.
So like, I'm pretty sure that was the series. So like obviously UIU and Reciprocity are pretty even teams,
Hmm.
but like you said, like Reciprocity is like clutching up pretty much every game 5, and like when they had Dens like for that last week, they were literally like they would go down like maybe by like 50 points in hardpoint, or like go down a few rounds in S&D, and then just like 6 straight rounds in S&D, like easy. Like that's actually how they beat UIU. Is like UIU went up 4-0 on the last S&D, and then Reciprocity won 6 straight to win that map. Like I remember writing the recap now that I think about it. So like these teams are really even, but like you said, Reciprocity is like clutching up everything, and UIU just kind of gets like it's just like a bad draw for them, because if they get put in like Pool C, then it's like maybe you have like a much better chance actually.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Pool C, which is FaZe, Splice, Midnight, E6. I think this is like a weird group because you don't really know what you're going to get with Splice, and then Midnight has looked really bad, and Enigma 6 has looked like all right for their roster. Who you got?
See, I think this would have been one of the more exciting pools if there was no drama with Splice, if accuracy was still on the team and like they were, that top 12 finish at London didn't happen, and they didn't go through whatever happened behind the scenes. If Splice was the team they were in the beginning of the year, where they were top 4, top 3 team,
Mm-hmm.
this pool would be a lot more interesting in my opinion. But
Yeah, definitely.
can't change the past. I still think FaZe will come in first, Splice will come in second. Nelson didn't play bad in my opinion in his pro league debut with
No.
Splice. I just think that even though they're playing with a sub, that they're still better than Midnight and E6, and it's tough to pick either of those two teams over Splice.
Yeah, I agreed like wholeheartedly with that. Like I don't
There's
think
only one temp.
Yeah. Like I don't think that Splice is as dangerous as they are like as they would have been with accuracy, just from like a talent standpoint. But
Exactly.
like Nolson is I don't know, like a good stopgap player. Like he kind of stops the bleeding. He's not going to do anything like super crazy for the team, but he's not like a detriment. He's not going to lose you the game basically. Like I don't think they have enough talent like as a team, or like enough chemistry as a team to overcome FaZe. So I'd pick FaZe first, but like you said, like, I don't think they're worse than Midnight or E6. Like I think that there's a lot of talent on E6, like just individual talent. Like that team is like on paper it should be kind of like pretty good actually. And maybe they will be like the more they get to play with each other and stuff. But I don't think that they get over Splice, and I don't know what's up with Midnight. Like that team seems to have like too many issues to like really fix, you know. So I think FaZe and Splice. You went with FaZe and Splice. I think this will be the only one that we actually agree on.
Yeah.
So let's go to the last pool, which is Pool D, and it's got 100 Thieves, Gen G, Team Envy, and Luminosity. Who you got coming out of Pool D?
I'm going with 100 Thieves and Envy. I gotta believe that, Aches and Bevels and the crew have gone back to the drawing board and at least attempted to figure out search and destroy and some way to be competitive. I know Joey Nubsy's been a good coach for Gen G, so he's going to do his work too. But I just think that, you know, if Envy's hungry and want this roster to work in the long term, they have to have put in the work going into this weekend, and they should be able to beat Gen G and Luminosity if they did. If not, they'll probably just go 0-3, and I'll look stupid, but yeah, gonna pick them anyway.
I'll say 100 Thieves and Gen G. I mean, Envy should, on paper, be one of the best teams
Yep.
because they have Aches, who's like one of the smartest guys to ever play Call of Duty. Like he might not be as talented now as he was like 3-4 years ago, but like he's still super smart. Bevels is one of the best coaches in the world. Hook is one of the best players in the world. So like everything looks up like, oh yeah, like Envy definitely competing for a championship. And they went, I think, either 1-6 or 2-5 in their last pro league split. and they lost pretty much every close game that they had. And like that's a really really bad thing for a team, is like you can't clutch up in the end, and that's like a really bad thing, especially when you're playing 100 Thieves, Genji, and Luminosity, like teams that realistically could take you to like the last hill on hardpoint. So I think Genji comes out of this. I agree with you. Nubsy's a good coach. They have a lot of talent. Like Envoy is super good. Um, I think Major Man is super good. So like
Yeah.
the talent, like the thing about this is like there's so much fucking talent in Pool D, and
That's what
yet
I'm
these
saying.
teams are awful recently. So like this is ridiculous that we even have to be like, all right, like who's coming out of this? Like it should be like there's so much talent that we just don't know who's gonna come out. But right now it's like they're all so bad we don't know who's gonna come out now.
The only other thing I want to point out too is that at London, Envy came in last place in pool play and then still ended up finishing top four. I'm pretty sure it was Decimate who said in an interview, I can't remember when or where it would have been, but I think he said something along the lines of like just gaining that momentum through playing so many losers bracket matches in a row, like that like helped the team. So if Envy don't make it out of pool play, it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world if we see them do something similar, or they just get top 16 because they're tilted.
Yeah, like
I really don't know.
was it United that had like a pretty big loser bracket run at London, and then they ended up like going straight to grand finals? Like
They did because United lost first round of winners bracket to 100 Thieves, I believe.
yeah, so like they had, like it just really depends obviously on who's on your team, like how they react to losses, because I remember last year United would lose like usually winner bracket semis or winner bracket finals, and then they would tilt and then they would instantly lose their next match, so they would end up
Yeah.
getting like top 4 or top 6. And this seemed to be like a trend of every single tournament they would just continue to do this. And maybe MV like with Aches being like, hey, just like step the fuck up, like we'll be all right if you guys just play well. Maybe that veteran leadership is like the reason that they can go through losers bracket. But there are some teams there are some teams that just can't do it. Like they literally can't handle the pressure of like one match and you're done. So I think MV will be all right if they don't make it into top 2. But it's just like a lot easier to go through winter bracket, so you don't have to like keep playing at one after one after one.
Yeah.
Um, so I did like the bracket. So like the top 8 championship bracket. I don't want to do losers bracket because like that's too tough. But just like the top 8, it would be for you: Optic versus Splice, Reciprocity versus 100 Thieves, Heretics versus FaZe, and then E United. And you picked Envy for Pool D, like the second
Yeah.
place. So E United versus Envy. So Optic versus Splice. Who do you got?
This feels like March Madness. Like
Yeah,
I'm picking all the 1 seeds and
June
they're gonna
Madness.
lose. Someone's gonna lose. But I think just all 4 of those matchups, I gotta go with the 1 seed in every single one of them.
So you
There's
got
there's
Optic versus 100 Thieves next round, and FaZe versus United.
100 Thieves and United.
Ooh. And then who you got after that?
100 Thieves.
So you got 100 Thieves beating Reciprocity, and then beating Optic, and then beating United. So that would probably leave you, let's say, United, FaZe, and Optic, and who's another team? And Splice in the losers bracket. Who wins the losers bracket to face 100 Thieves again?
I'll go with Optic just to be different.
Oh
That'd be
wow!
pretty crazy too
Yeah,
to beat 100 Thieves
I
Optic grand
love
final.
that. That would be so good for viewership. Like
Well, yeah.
I know Optics like having their meltdown about getting sold to Immortals and everything, but like that sounds good. 100 Thieves versus Optic at Anaheim Grand Finals. Like that's Black Ops 2 Anaheim Finals. Like that's kind of like how I'm getting that. I think mine was, so I picked pretty much the same team. So mine would have been Optic versus Splice, and I'd pick Optic. I picked Reciprocity and 100 Thieves. No, did I pick 100? Did I
No,
pick?
you picked Elevate,
Okay, so Elevate versus 100 Thieves. I pick 100 Thieves, and I pick
but
100
yeah.
Thieves to be Optic too. And then Phase over EG, and United over Genji. United over Phase. I'll say United over 100 Thieves. So United will go to
Ooh.
Grand Finals. I think, like, with how good they've looked recently, like, they looked good in London, obviously, but they've looked even better since Pro League. They even beat 100 Thieves,
Yeah.
like I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. So they've looked really good. So I'll say United gets the Grand Finals through winners, and then I'll say 100 Thieves tilts off the face of the earth after losing, and they lose to Optic. So it's United versus Optic. And I'll say United wins. I think, yeah.
I'm cool with United winning. I think 100 Thieves is going to do it again just because I really, like, I don't want to say it was an excuse because I don't believe it was, but, like, Slasher was saying that it's just different playing in the Pro League environment compared to on LAN, especially in Anaheim. And that's what he seemingly attributed the loss to United in the Pro League to. So I still think, like, United is obviously a great team. I just think 100 Thieves is the better team right now. And whoever wins that match, if it comes down to them in the winners bracket, that's going to be the team that wins it all. It would be great though if Clayster broke his long drought and finally lifted another trophy.
So would it be what, 4 years? It was like,
It's over 1,000 days. He's been saying, right?
yeah, it's literally like it was AW, or did did
It
they
would have to be,
win
yeah.
PlayStation Experience or whatever? Like, do we count
That
that?
doesn't count.
Oh,
No,
okay.
that doesn't count.
So I think when we looked it up, I looked it up a while ago. I think it was like some summer event in AW, when he was with FaZe. I kind
MLG
of
Pro League AW Season 3 playoffs in September 2015.
So yeah, we'll be pretty close to 4 years. So like three
Yeah,
and a
just
half, 4
under.
years. So that's like a really, really long time for, especially since he's considered like one of the best players like of all time. Like he's, I think, 10th or 9th or 10th on the earnings list, and to not even win a tournament in the last 4 years and still be in the top 10 is like incredible. I forget my train of thought now that I think about it. Oh, like to Slasher's point about like the pro league environment being different than like an actual event.
Yeah.
Like I could see that, especially since in an event you keep playing like one after another. Like if you win, like you can keep winning for the rest of the day or the rest of the weekend. Where pro league, it's like, all right, you played your one match, go home to the Columbus apartments, sleep, eat, come back here at 3 o'clock tomorrow, and you'll play another match. So like I could see where like your rhythm is broken if you're playing at pro league instead of the event. But it could go the other way. Like if you lose one or like you lose two matches in pool play, and you're like, shit, like this is gonna be tough. Like your mind cannot like reset as well if it was like at pro league.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not a pro player or coach, but like,
False.
if you think about it, going into a specific pro league match, you also have that night beforehand where you can fully focus on watching VOD or watching previous, streams and stuff of that one specific team. You know you're playing that team that next day at that set time. Whereas in the tournament environment, you have to prepare for multiple teams. At least in the pool play stage, you're playing three teams. So you have to prepare and look at the VOD for all three of them. Then once you get into the winner's bracket or lower bracket, it's completely different. Winner's bracket, if you win, you can, kind of do the same thing and set up for that one team you're playing next. But then if you win, you have to be prepared for two other teams.
Mm-hmm.
And in the lower bracket, you barely have any time to do VOD review, at least. I would imagine it's much more difficult to do so. So that's another difference, at least in my opinion.
I want to say that talent trumps like preparation when it comes to bracket play, because like you really can't prepare for all the variables like of how many teams like you can play and whatnot. But like preparation should be very successful in pro league. But then I look at Envy who has bevels, so I'm thinking like maybe not. Maybe it's just like shit just goes wrong because if preparation was like the top thing, then MV would be doing super well and they wouldn't have as many problems as they're having. Um, but I agree with you. Like bracket play, especially if you're in the losers bracket, like that's super tough. Like, how are you even gonna prepare for like one of four opponents in losers bracket? Like, if you're in losers bracket and you're waiting for the loser of the winners bracket game, like that's super tough. Like, you don't know who's gonna come down, and you don't like have enough like current information to really
Yep.
make up a game plan. Like that's, I mean, Call of Duty is super weird because VOD reviews, like, I mean, not every team has like a full-time coach. Like most of them are just like ex-players that kind of do it on the side or whatever. So that's like the preparation in this esport is like still growing and still like everybody's still learning. So like if you can get ahead of the game with like VOD reviews and like just picking up on patterns teams do, like that's the way to win championships. And like maybe that's why Faceno was hired and Saint was fired. Maybe they felt that like Faceno just like was more in tune with how to prepare for teams.
I think, obviously off topic, but I think Facento, based on his playing days, he was always destined to be a high caliber coach because he was that in-game leader type player, and now he gets to do what he was doing in game without actually having to play.
Yeah. You're basically just like putting Simp's thumbs on Facento's mind. It's like a beautiful sight. I don't think I really have anything else. Like, I didn't have anything else to talk about for this event. But obviously, like, this event's like pretty big. First of all, because there's $325,000 online, but just like Anaheim in general is seen as basically the biggest event other than champs, like from a prestigious standpoint, right?
This could be the last open event in Call of Duty history.
Oh yeah, I actually didn't think about that. That's actually crazy. Yeah, that's like I don't know how things are gonna work after franchising, but
Yeah.
I'd be super shocked to see like a traditional open event happen again.
These aren't even traditional open events.
Yeah,
No open teams get into pool play, but yeah, this could be the last open event. Obviously, that's speculation, but yeah.
we're all about speculating on this podcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of sad. I mean, like, I don't think many people watch for the open bracket or anything, but like, that's kind of like where everybody started. Like,
Yep.
even though like the most successful players, like I remember Formal when he was on Primal, like when he was switching from Halo to Ghosts,
Yeah.
and like it was like him and Abel, I think like Snipe Down or whatever. And it's like that's crazy that they all started at like this bottom point, like where you have to basically run the gauntlet and play like 12 hours in a single day to even get a chance. And now it's like it might all be gone and like all of this might just end, and we're just, I mean, it's kind of sad, but I don't know. Yeah, I think that's about it. You can follow me on Twitter at PresBuyers. You can follow Bink on Twitter at jbink with 2Ks. Check out dotesports.com. We'll be covering CWL Anaheim on the site. Bink will be updating the results for every match in pool play, even though he hates his life when he does it. I will be trying to get out of as much work as possible because I don't work weekends, so I don't have to listen to Bink on the weekends. And yeah, thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate it.
Yep, no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, it's chalked.